All right, we are live once again for another episode of the Ascendry Podcast. Today, I have somebody with me who I've known for a long time, as he was a mentor for the school I previously worked with, and he's obviously got a much longer history in the music industry, as you can tell by his wall decor back there. I have with me today Mack Woodward. How you doing today, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I interrupted your sip.
I can take it whenever I need to take it. That's all.
Yeah. I'm good. You know, we're
Awesome, Lance.
finally coming out of, it seemed like the entire city of Kansas City just like froze over for probably like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So we're finally thawing out today, and it's making for some good temperature, but it's also bad for lighting.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, you've got the overcast, you got the dreary winter going on over there.
No, not anymore. See, when it was
Okay.
cloudy, we had control because like none of that sunlight was making it into this room. So
Yeah.
the ring lights and everything, you'd have control of the environment, but
Got it.
can't have it all. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So for anybody who is watching this episode of the podcast who has no idea who you are yet, then how would you explain that? Like can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So again, Mack Woodward. I've been in the music industry for about 20 years now, coming up on 21. Went to I'm a mix engineer and producer and remixer and et cetera, et cetera. I kind of came up through the rounds of interning at a studio, cleaning toilets, doing food runs and all that sort of thing, and just sort of worked my way up to being a recording engineer for a couple of pretty solid producers who were still are hot, but were really hot at the time. And I just got lucky hanging out with those guys, and so now I'm just sort of mixing and producing full time.
Nice. Dude, full-time, a lot of people don't understand that full-time doesn't necessarily mean superstar status. It's like, you don't have to be like an A-list platinum celebrity artist to be able to make a good full-time living doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so you worked your way up though. You mentioned you did the whole cleaning toilets, going and doing food orders. How was that for you?
It was, it's horrible. It's not anything that's ideal, or nothing about it is glamorous or fun.
Yeah.
You're just kind of you're just tunnel vision with a goal. But yeah, doing food runs for big sessions. And you're inevitably gonna, even if you don't forget something, they're gonna tell you forgot something to, just bust your balls or whatever. And
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean, you just go through the hazing process, I guess is what it technically is. But again, man, you just work hard. You try to be the first one there. Or I was afraid to leave. I was afraid to leave the studio, just because I thought if I left, somehow the manager would kind of be like, "Where did he go? If he doesn't want to be here, then he doesn't want it bad enough, and he's fired." That was kind of my mentality. So, you just sort of like, I was trying to be available the whole time, up to the point, finally, a few months in, my manager came in at 10 o'clock for her, that's usually what time she got to the studio. And she was like, "Dude, go home. Like, that's enough. You've proved yourself. You're fine. Like you're in, we're good." So, but it was just like a hazing process is the best way to put it.
And you're like the umpteenth producer that I've heard talk about this, where it's almost like a hierarchy that is there in all of the like recording studio, audio engineer, producer space, right? Because it usually starts with you're like a fly on the wall, and then somebody asks you to go get them the coffee, and then you graduate to doing food runs. And then I've heard several stories that later involve, okay, the studio owner placed this order for this gear, he hands you the keys to, go get the stuff.
Go get it.
And then eventually he starts trusting you with the company card to go get the stuff from the place.
Yeah,
and then eventually you get the keys because you're locking up at the end of the night.
Yep.
and then
Yeah.
you're opening in the morning, and the next thing you know, you're a fixture in their studio.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, then you're kind of getting put on like, hey, this mix engineer's coming in, just sit in there, make sure he doesn't need anything, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're an assistant engineer.
Yeah.
But that's so funny. I totally forgot about things like that. I always think of making coffee, food runs. And it's funny because the first real responsibility was one, keeping the studio clean at all times, cleaning the gear, cleaning the rooms, trash out, coffee in the morning. Coffee was always made in the morning, et cetera, et cetera. But the big one of the big first responsibilities was answering the phones. Like, thank you for calling Tree Sound Studios. This is Mac. How may I direct your call? That to me was like such a heavier burden because of that was like Capitol Records calling. And like I'm the guy who needs to
You're the
forward
one on the
call
phone. You
to
gotta
like
you
the
gotta
right
toss
person.
the
And
hot potato,
I was like,
right?
oh my God, yeah, like, don't screw that up. I can make coffee all day, but don't send Capitol Records executives into the wrong office or something, I mean. So
No,
that was funny how they did that, but I guess it wasn't a big deal.
I guess it's one of those they throw you to the fire,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you're there. You're
Yeah.
next thing you know,
See if he messes this up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but then it's also, I think that's a test to professional conduct, right? Because like I heard a story. So Alex Solis, another one of our mentors who used to be with
Alex,
Recording
yeah.
Connection.
Love Alex.
Yeah, he was telling me a story about somebody who worked at a studio who answered the phones and was like, "Oh, yeah, no, so and so's here," and named the artist who was at the studio.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, right.
Done.
So
Done.
that was the end of him. He was out.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's. I mean, I think it's being thrown to the fire like that. I always learn best when someone is like, okay, yeah, here you go, do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's
Yeah.
some aspect of that to it.
Well, and I think, when the studios are trying to weed people out fast, they don't want to have to worry about that stuff. There's plenty to worry about when you're running a studio, right? So, especially a big commercial one like that. So I think it is that's part of the process. But, yeah, it's nice when like 2 or 3 months in, you're not the new guy anymore. So a little bit of, you're still doing all the stuff, but at least a little bit of pressure's off it.
Yeah.
Off
There's
you when the next
fresher
guys
blood
come
that's
in.
being focused on, right?
Now,
Yeah.
now you're the middle child.
Yep. But okay, well, I mean, like, so that's how you got started with, when you started, getting into studios and doing this. But take us a little bit further back. Like, when did you decide that, music production and audio engineering was something you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, like my parents were always in the choir at church. Dad was in a band in the 60s called the Cherry Slush, which was exactly how you'd think it would sound, kind of Beatles, Beach Boys,
That's
sort
Beach
of
Boys
thing.
is the first.
Yeah,
band
and I mean they
in
had the
my mind.
striped shirts, like they were an actual band. They had original songs and everything, but they would do a lot of covers. And they were pretty awesome. Saginaw, Michigan. As far as I remember, I don't remember if I think they got a record deal eventually, but they were going on tour, and Dad, to his credit, and he has no regrets about this, but he's like, I just didn't want the road life. I wanted to be like in the studios, and I just wanted to play guitar and do local shows and all that. When they went on tour, it was kind of like, oh God. So Dad was always, in the industry and had great stories. Mom was always singing in the choir. I ended up getting in the choir, and music was always just something that I was good at. I would apply myself to. Sort of a natural thing. Like for a while, I wanted to be an architect. It was always something artistic, but
Yeah. Well,
I
I feel
think
like
all that.
architects, they build things literally from the
Yeah.
ground up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, music production, I think there's a little, like, if you zoom out and kind of squint your eyes a little bit, they could look similar on paper, right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Even when
this-
you're building a track, you got the foundation, and then all that sort.
dude, yeah. I mean, like, I'll even tell my students sometimes before starting a song, because I mean, in Ableton, it's really easy to just like click and drag and go like infinitely over here to the right.
Yeah.
My approach involves ironing out the exact structure from start to finish that you are
Same.
envisioning your song
Same.
doing, and laying out markers. And then once you lay the markers out, you go all the way over here to what I call the sandbox area,
Yes.
where you start to put together your 4-bar, 8-bar, sections and all that. And then once you have the pieces, you go and you build them based
drop
on that
in,
blueprint.
drop stuff out. Yeah, no, that's perfect.
It's kind of like building. Yeah.
So that was I mean, you know, I might be jumping ahead here, but that was the fun part. I think a lot of people really had trouble of, you know, I've started something, I have an 8-bar loop, I can't finish it. I don't know how to, like, how do songs get structured? I was like, well, just buy a song for 99 cents, your favorite song, pull it into Ableton, map it out with markers, and mute that song, and now you got your structure. Now you can, you know, and it just like blew people's minds. I was like, trust me, like somebody showed me that too. I mean, that's nothing that I like. It's just it's
just
like
what we do.
Such a fundamental the way to do it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I mean, like, it's just one of those things where another thing I would tell my students was when you're doing this, I would jokingly tell them, yeah, try to just copy the song one for one. You know, like, because even if you try to, for lack of a better term, plagiarize a song, like play by play, if you have a single ounce of creativity up here, it's not going to work.
No,
you're going to get like maybe a third of the way in, and then you're going to be like, what if I do this different or this? And your natural creativity takes over.
100%.
And you know, and especially somewhere like house music or dubstep or even rap and hip hop, I don't feel like there's a single proprietary song structure anywhere in the last 10 years. It's all based on something else.
No, absolutely,
that's happened
man.
in the past.
Yeah, totally. I love doing it that way. I mean, you know, sometimes if I'm, especially house and tech house and everything, if I'm shopping to a label, I'm downloading songs, their latest releases, I'm pulling those in, I'm matching the sonics, I'm matching the structure pretty much exactly because, well, if they sign that song, I don't want to deviate from that too much. I just want to do my own track around, you know. But I usually don't get real, you know, and that can be construed as like, oh, you know, you're not being creative. Well, I understand you are, but you're also shooting for a goal, and that is to get this label to pay attention to my track. So it's sort of
it's efficiency. I mean,
that's it.
You have your breakout, especially I feel like in EDM, you have those producers who are just really forward thinking. Like if I had to think of some examples, I would say Peekaboo, Liney, I mean, I could keep going, but like anybody who's in that like super experimental, deep, dark, and dangerous Wakan territory.
You know?
Oh yeah, even I mean, if we go back even further, Justice and people who really broke the mold, and that was what they were known for. But you think about how many you could, if you can count them all on both hands, then good for you. That's 0.01% of all the producers and all the musicians who are. I mean, you don't have to be. You don't have to be that. You know.
No.
But well, cool. So it sounds like you grew up around music, and I gotta ask. So you were in the choir in church. Did you ever use their gear, like the sound equipment and stuff in church?
No. I mean, I never even. So that's a great question because I never, even through Full Sail and everything, I never considered myself a technical guy. I had no desire to learn the gear. I always wanted to be a producer, which back then was a little more, the term producer was much more like you didn't have to know how to play anything. You just had to know what a hit record sounded like, or, you know, what I need a guitarist. I'm going to hire all the people to build the song. I'm going to hear a demo.
The Rick Rubin archetype.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, exactly. You know, so, literally that. I just wanted to be the kind of guy like pulling the strings and I'm not even a bossy personality. So I guess like a lot of producers become producers because they wanted to do that. It wasn't necessarily that aspect. It was really just more like, I want to be the orchestrator.
Well, and it's also, I feel like if you're I don't know, like I'll imagine whole songs in my head that I'm not a drummer or a guitarist or a singer, but I can sure think of how it sounds.
Yeah. And, you hear it done. Yep.
You know, and so I feel like there's almost that itch that you try to scratch where you want to bring that to reality. You want to create it, but you can't. So it's like, I think that's where producers kind of do their thing. You know, they know who to grab. Like, I'll reference another podcast, George Janko's podcast. He had John Bellion on it. Did you see that episode?
No, I love John.
Such a good episode. He tells all. It was like super I mean, it's anybody who's watching this actually finish watching this podcast, of course, but then go and check that one out, because that's he tells a lot about how the industry works, but also what his approach to being almost more of like the executive producer side of things goes, because, you know, he would find all the instrumentalists, he would find,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
love that.
you know, so now I think a lot of people think of producers as like the tech guys, the ones that are like behind the software,
Yeah.
but it can be a lot of different things. I feel like it's almost an ambiguous term at this point.
Yeah. Well, and it's so cool. Like I'm so happy that it worked out for me the way that it worked out. Coming up through a studio, um, now I can be kind of a combination of today's producer, just bedroom producer and a thing, but I also know, you know, I've got outboard gear and I can I can go anywhere in the world and know how a studio works, how all the gear works, and you can kind of be the hybrid old school rock producer with, you know, the today's producer. So I mean it just worked out for me and it was just timing. It's nothing that I did that was special. I think it was just kind of coming up in the early 2000s and going through a studio that
Yeah.
was I was forced to, you're like, you got to know the gear, man, because we're not going to put you in a session with Akon and like you don't know what you're, you know, all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, I think it's crazy too, because like I went to NAMM
mm,
2019, and
oh, that's
Moog
cool.
had a booth there, and,
Awesome.
you know, the synthesizers, right? So like,
Yes.
and I looked at this and I'm like, what are they? Are they diffusing like a bomb over here? Like, what are they doing? Because and they were
They
doing like
are.
a little, like a small, not like a course, but like a seminar kind of deal, where they were showing people how to use these synths. And I, being an EDM producer at the time for 7 years already,
Yeah.
had no idea what I was looking at. And I was like,
Isn't that crazy? I know.
yeah. And I sat down and they were like showing me, like, you know, okay, you put this over here and you do this, this, this. And I'm over here thinking to myself, like, dude, am I,
I'm never going to get this, am I?
well, it almost became an existential thing just a little bit, because like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, producers should know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
I know.
understand this.
Yeah.
What am I doing? So I think that's actually huge, because like you understand how the electricity gets from the wall to
Yeah.
the
Insane.
final end point. Like understanding that flow is something that most digital producers probably have no idea how to do.
No, no. And you know, to their credit, not even a shade thing. It's sort of like they don't have to anymore because um it's sort of like if you want to learn that kind of thing, I think it's incredibly valuable, but you know, everything's sort of done within the plugin or within the VST or within the, you know, if you as long as you know the signal flow of your VST, it's sort of it works. But
Yeah. And a
you
lot
know,
of the terminology, so if you pay attention, obviously, to like the FL Studio, the Logic, the Pro Tools, Ableton, all of the ways that it works in there,
yeah.
if you know the proper terminology and somebody puts you in front of a studio setup
Yep.
where there's physical hardware,
Same
you
old thing.
probably could put two and two together, right?
Same thing.
You
Yeah.
know, it's a weird thing to look at.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I remember I had a student who got a bunch of those Waves plugins that are modeled after uh, like physical hardware,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Right.
like the SSL compressors and all that.
Right.
And he's like, "Why do they look like this? Why do they look so like they almost look like real devices?" And I was like,
Let me tell you stories.
"Because that's because they are actual
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
devices."
That's where your hair goes all gray and you just, you know.
Yeah. So I had another student who downloaded the Roland TR-808
Awesome.
VST that they made.
Awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I just don't know why. Like, how do you make the 808?" And I was like, well, "Actually, okay, so are you talking about are you talking about the like sub bass 808?" And he's like, "Yeah, the 808." And I'd explained to him that, well, see, actually, the real 808 is
Yeah.
that little transient
Is
at the very beginning. Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it's
That's
crazy
awesome.
how far back all that stuff goes, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And how
it's
fast it's become what it is now. I mean,
now we're approaching scary territory now.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's, how do
Yeah.
you feel about Suno right now?
It's so funny, dude. I knew you were gonna ask this,
It's
and
such a hot topic right now.
yeah.
I can't afford to not ask about
So
it.
here's the thing. I really just try because I knew you were gonna ask this question, and I downloaded or I went to the website and just kind of messing around with it. I was
Mhm.
starting a new kind of like house track, and you know, NASA. Shout out to NASA Shaw, who's my go-to house music vocalist and songwriter. She's incredibly busy right now. She's developing like a group and all that sort of thing. So, I was like, well, in the meantime, I can always call her in to like sort of adjust things, but then I'm gonna call her in to sing the song. But in the meantime, like let me see if I can just use this as a co-writer. Typed in some lyrics, big soulful house voice, blah blah blah. Um, and what it spit out was kind of like, yep, that's pretty fire.
Yeah.
Kind of went in and like adjusted some things. And for house and tech house, I mean, especially tech house, but house, you sort of need like maybe a verse and a big hook. There's
Yeah.
not much left to do. So sort of adjusted things, pulled it in, and at least it's something. I got the acapella and I started a whole track underneath it. I don't,
Mhm.
I will never be the one to like, oh yeah, just Suno and spit it out. And hey guys, I did a song. Like,
Right.
I couldn't do that. I understand it might happen soon, but
Well,
I
it's
don't
already
want to use it
happening.
like that. Yeah,
Dude,
I don't want to use it like that. That's no
just last
fun.
week, I was
Uh,
on a stream. I was on a live stream where the whole point of the live stream was to listen to people's created original music and give feedback on it. And this person's logo was AI. This person's artwork was AI. The song was made with Suno. Couldn't answer any questions about how the synths were created.
yeah.
And we were like trying to find nice ways to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, man.
the chat was lighting up on the side. Like
Oh
you
God,
already have people
roasting.
doing this. You already
Yeah,
have it's
for sure,
here. But it
for
sounds like
sure.
the way you did it is actually similar to how a student of mine did this, because I was very, very anti Suno for a long time.
Hmm.
And then I had a student who
Me
was
too.
making house music and got this like 2-bar vocal sample off Splice. Not
Yeah,
much you can do if you repeat a 2-bar phrase the entire duration of the song. It's not going to sound good.
sure,
It's going to get boring.
sure.
So our next session, he's like, yeah, check this out. I put this in Suno
Yeah.
and it made like a whole song around this, but he wrote some like lyrics and had ChatGPT elaborate on the lyrics,
Hmm.
pasted those lyrics in.
Crazy.
It did the whole vocal in the style of the Splice loop, which
Yeah.
technically that's allowed because if you have a Splice membership,
Yep.
that's a
Royalty
royalty
free, et
free.
cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
And then he had a pro membership on Suno, so that's is allowed to commercially use that too. He took that, used another AI, Ultimate Vocal Remover 5, to remove the vocal and the instrumental, canned the instrumental, wrote and put the vocal
Yeah.
on his song and worked the
Yeah.
song into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's genius. That's kind of smart. You got to
Yeah.
admit.
Yeah.
Like,
I figure like if I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it as a I don't I it's funny, I don't write lyrics, but what Suno did with my lyrics is kind of fire. I feel like I'm a dope songwriter now. But like I don't do lyrics at all. I've never done lyrics. So just I figured like let me approach this. I will never like I love making music, so I'm never gonna that's the fun of it. If I'm always gonna want to open up Ableton and make a track. So but I love especially with house and everything, I would always get acapellas and either do a remix or a mashup or whatever. Or I would get NASA in and have kind of a beat and she writes and all that sort of thing. So I was like, let me just use this as kind of like NASA's not available. I got this young writer in. We're gonna do some stuff. I'm gonna get the track done. I'll call NASA in. She can change whatever she wants and change lyrics and actually sing the song. And so now Suno is just a co-writer,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah. And
Um,
can Suno,
I
it's been
think
a
I can
while.
accept that.
Has Suno gotten to the point where you can actually alter stems now, or is it still just spitting out whole songs?
Yeah, it had there's Suno Studio now, which is like another $20 a month. I was like, no, I don't need that. I think that's really when you want to like, we have Ableton or we have Proto, all that sort of thing. But
Right.
I think
Yeah.
if you're, just using Suno, but yeah, like it it did make a track, and I just kind of scrapped the track and took downloaded the vocal files. Um, yeah, it gives you all the stems.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if like the drum stem you could split out like, oh, I like that clap in there. I don't remember if it would split it that far, but it would give you like
Ableton can now.
exactly. Yeah. So
I mean, Ableton
I love that.
12.3 is
I love that. Yeah,
that
dude.
that splice integration. It was kind of funny. I know some people who were on the beta for 12.3, and they were telling me
Yeah.
pretty early on that the splice integration into Ableton 12.3 is actually cleaner handling than the actual Splice app at times. I'm like, I can't imagine being the creator of Splice or on the
I know.
development team for Splice
Yeah.
and this great thing that like just changed the game
Yeah.
works better in somebody else's software.
So I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
like, well, yeah,
but
mission accomplished.
mission that almost goes like beyond mission accomplished. That's like if you're like think of it like a steak. If it's like there's rare, there's medium,
Yeah.
there's well. That's like congratulations.
Yeah. That's like
That's
so
like
much
your
better
dad
than
telling you he's proud of you for the first
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Dad handing the grill over to you, like, whoa, I just wanted to be as good as dad. Yeah.
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 So
That's
well,
awesome.
cool, man. So so you've had I feel like one of those stories about people getting into production and engineering and getting into the studios that you have to not only, as you were saying earlier, you have to outlive the other people in the studio who want that position from you, so to
Mm,
speak. You have
yeah.
to be the one that's still remaining,
Hmm.
so you've made it to where you are now. Can you think of any like specific hardships that you encountered between now and when you got started that you had to overcome?
Um, yeah, I guess, I mean, a lot of like, just, I can't think of any like just massive, I mean, as we all know, being in the music industry is one long, continuous hardship, I think. Not to be so doom and gloom, but I think it's
But
just
it's
sort of
true.
like, yeah, if if you want to do this, it's really a cliche. Like, I hope you love it because it's not, this is not like this 9 to 5, pays well, like cush life. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess like hardship. I remember like kind of breaking off. I was the personal engineer of Black Elvis, who he's the reason I have a lot of the stuff up on the wall back there. Great friend of mine. I love him to death. I was his personal engineer for a while, and I remember just kind of like burning out on that as engineers do. Um, and I kind of wanted to break off and do my own thing. And that's a scary thing when you're kind of coming from like, you know, EMI is cutting your checks every week to I'm gonna go do my own thing, and it's all on you. Um, so I think there was maybe a bit of a time there where like that was pretty tough. Just that transition. The ebbs and flows of the industry. It's just sitting out in the ocean on your surfboard, man. Like
Yeah.
waiting for the wave, and you get the right wave and you ride it in, and then like, great, that's fun for a while, and it works for you, and then you got to paddle back out and go get another one, right?
And get another one. Yeah.
So it's that's what it is, and hopefully, just if you stick with it long enough, like you kind of alluded to earlier, you have enough going on that eventually sustains the low times. Like at least there's some stuff that like bills are still being paid, and then the good times are like, great, let's go to Europe, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's that. I think it's just kind of sticking with, there's always hard times, there's always uncertainty, there's always if you can make that work early in your career and try to just stick through it, um, you know, eventually it's gonna even out and level out, and you might not always have the glamorous gig, but it'll come back around. It just kind of comes back around. I think as long as people know it's an up and down sort of deal. Um,
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to put it, and I think that's a really stark contrast between your standard career ladder where you start at entry level and you get promoted, and
Mhm.
seniority plays in your favor, so the salary just consistently goes up, and then you eventually work your way to a nice cush retirement. That's
Sure.
not how this industry works, and I think a lot of people think it doesn't help that the best parts and the worst parts of the music industry are what's portrayed in the movies and the TV shows. It's like the very best and the very worst.
Yeah.
They don't show you everything in the middle, in
No,
between, when
exactly.
things are just okay, or
Yeah.
they're just a little bit less than okay, or
Yeah.
they're just a little bit over okay. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
that's not shown to a lot of people. So I think people don't understand it's not
Yeah.
linear. It's very
Yeah.
much a roller coaster. Like you said, it's the waves, it's catching a wave.
Yeah. That's it, man.
So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
really good way to put it up.
Those in betweens are, that's where it's like, yeah, I really do love doing this. Like, even though it's like the phone's not ringing right now, but I'm still like making songs and I'm still putting stuff out, or like stuff that I worked on, 6 months ago is finally getting released and I can post about, I mean, so it's just sort
Yeah.
of
Or
that
it's
kind of
like you make something and you sit on it and you don't know how long you're going to sit on it before something happens.
big time.
My first sync placement, which wound up being with Netflix and DreamWorks,
Crazy.
was
Yeah.
a song that I had been sitting on for 4 years. 4 years. I didn't even know the manager I was with at the time. When I made that song, I didn't even know who he was, let alone had I not signed with him yet. And I don't think he had yet met that sync agent that he got the song
Gotcha.
sent to. So
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen in the future. So you have to, as long as you continue to create, and
Big time.
it's one of those things. I mean, like you said, songs coming out 6 months later,
Yep.
that
Yep.
process, you got to be writing that whole 6 months,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta,
Just keep the funnel going.
yeah. Well, there's also, I like to call it the mercy kill effect, where if you
I
try
like that.
something for long enough, eventually the universe is going to be like, fine, dude, take
Yeah.
it here.
Dude, I love that. Mercy
Yeah.
kill effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it's like
I love
for
that.
me, yeah, it was with Borgore and Bygore. I was like, I wanted so badly to be on Borgore's label because
Yeah.
this was right at that, like, you know, Borgore ruined dubstep era,
Got
right?
it.
He did the collab with Miley Cyrus,
Right. Right. Right.
Cake, I think it's called.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I
And
remember that.
that whole
That's so
era,
funny.
and then Bygore was a thing. And dude, as a dubstep artist, Bygore was like the label you wanted to be on.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were a
Yeah.
few others that are, none of them are functional anymore, but
Mhm.
I don't even, I'm not sure. I'm not certain if even Bygore operates anymore. If they do, amazing. But
Yeah. I don't know.
that whole echelon of record labels, right?
Yeah.
Bygore was the one, I think, that a lot of people were like, dude, if you release on that one, right? And so
Yeah.
I was shooting
You're on
for
your
it.
way.
I
Oh
was
man.
shooting
Totally.
for it.
I know.
And it was, God, a 4 or 5 year journey uh, of like not even getting emails back, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And then you finally get the email back and you look at the subject line, it's RE:"demos," and you're like, and then they
Oh.
say no.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's like, all right.
but thanks for sending it.
I mean, yeah, that's a little step forward, man.
Yeah.
That you got a response.
But you continue, but you're like, okay, this is great. So
Yeah.
then,
Now they're starting to recognize your email. They're starting to. I mean, this kid
Mhm.
is trying,
yeah,
and he
and then you
cares,
keep
and he
trying.
wants it. Yeah.
For me, it got, I don't know, dude, it got as deep as, like, I would start getting email responses back and I would start going to their shows and I would start trying to finesse my way backstage and
Bro,
try to, like,
I'm
because
telling
if
you,
they
man.
saw my name in the email inbox, maybe
Yeah.
they'll understand, or maybe they'll put two
Yeah.
and two together. Kind of worked sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like that eventually, that the mercy kill theory is that
Yeah.
if you just continue and
Yeah.
continue and continue, eventually the universe is gonna be like, fine, take it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
in my face.
I agree. Yeah. And yeah, you're not putting out trash. Like it's, especially if you've been working on something for 5 years, by that time, like the stuff is probably pretty damn competitive. So
Well, also though, in 5 years with EDM, especially, you probably know this, the market can shift.
big time.
So,
Yeah.
like, you get there, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you ever
Yeah.
see the movie The New Guy? The old movie with DJ
man.
Qualls in it. He's like
No,
he's like the
I don't think
loser
so.
kid. Oh, it's a crazy movie. He's like this loser
New
kid in
Guy.
his high school, goes to jail, and the guy he meets in jail, um, kind of transforms him into the cool
Gotcha.
kid,
Yeah.
the dangerous kid.
Okay.
And he goes to this next high school and he makes his introduction, and they applied prison rules to it. Where he's like, first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the baddest person on the whole lot,
Wow.
and you're going to whoop his ass.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is a kid going to a different high school. So,
yeah.
it's almost like, I feel like the way the genres in the market can shift by the time you learn it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That scene, if you go and you watch that movie, DJ Qualls finds the guy and like does his whole thing, knocks the guy out, but the bell had already rung. So like everyone else on the lot was like walking into their classrooms and no one saw him do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then he's like, you've got to be kidding me.
That's a great analogy.
So he takes this cool kid's like unconscious body to the hallway.
Yeah.
And pulls the fire alarms.
Yeah.
To eventually get them all in the hallway. Hey, everyone, come watch me do this again.
Yeah. Totally.
So I feel like
that's so true, man.
Because if you chase something that's popular while you're learning it, by the time you learn it, it's not popular anymore. And they're not going to see it.
Not going to see it. No, exactly. You'll learn, you're going to, it's like, don't not do it, because you're refining your craft, and whatever else comes after that. At least like, okay, well, now I know Ableton like crazy, and now I know how to sound design, or I know how to like do these techniques. So if it's, my thing is techno is kind of coming, like it's house and then tech house, which I still love making, but like now it's like the BPMs are going up. So it's this whole other sort of like, okay, like now I got to like listen to more of that stuff and get my ear around that. So
yeah. Well, also though, with tech house and house, the subs were notoriously clean.
Yeah.
Where with techno, the rumble bass is coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
Rumble bass. You ever made a rumble bass?
Exactly. Oh yeah.
They're so fun. You take that, sine wave, you take the white noise layer, you pitch it down, you filter it, you just throw you want Serum 2?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I
haven't like used it a whole lot yet, but I've downloaded it or upgraded it.
My favorite thing in Serum 2 right now is the distortion effect. It now has another option in it called overdrive. And and it's got a stack option. So you can actually stack the signal up to, I think, like 16 times, which is just irresponsible.
That's just look, you're paying for a club system when you do that.
Yeah. But it's really, really interesting. You can get so many, especially with subs, like you take a sine wave sub and you throw it into the Combs filter.
Yeah.
And you take like an LFO and you make it kind of, I guess kind of scan through the cutoff downward. It'll give this like lurching feeling, this like, but then you send that over because it's going to be quiet. So you send that into distortion, overdrive, stack it like 4 times.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a ton of unwanted overtones and stuff. So you low pass filter those out. At that point, I'd probably use like Fab Filter because you got that brick wall setting, right?
Totally. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Dude, you can get some of the nastiest, because like if you're just using a sine wave, those harmonics, there's going to be, it's going to be like the Burj Khalifas standing right next to each other. There's nothing between them. Yeah. So you just get those frequencies. They're like poles on the spectrum.
Right. Yeah.
But when you do something like a super resonant like comb filter with like overdrive and the stack super high up, you get all this like spatter between the harmonics. And there's not a system that's going to come on as long as you're not clipping.
That's cool. I might need to hire you on Ascendry to show me that. Yeah, that's
hire me on Ascendry. I'm about to hire you on Ascendry. Anybody who's watching this episode, by the way, so Mack is one of our mentors who, luckily for us, despite like his accolades, right? You wouldn't expect this. He's actually got the free consult option available. So if you're looking to learn anything about like what we've talked about so far, you can literally book a consultation call with him and speak with him about what you want to do.
Yeah, totally.
For free, because he's just generous like that. So
I like when the light bulb goes off. You know, I love that.
But so, as far as Ascendry goes, I'm really happy to have you on here because
Me too,
you
man.
have honestly been teaching did you do any teaching before Recording Connection?
No, no,
Okay.
not aside from just, we had, we had some interns that like after sessions I would kind of show them stuff. They were like mine and Elvis's interns. And so kind of, but not like officially, not
Okay.
getting paid to.
So with that, so how long did you teach for Recording Connection? How many? I know it was a good group of years, right?
Think I was with them from 2014, maybe
That's a long
2014
I graduated high
or
school in 2014. That's crazy.
2014 or 15, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and how many students did you take on between then and like
Oh, dude,
2025?
I don't know. Man, if I were to guess, I maybe 40. But does that sound right? Maybe like,
I think that sounds right because so when I was working internally within the school from like 2018 to 2021,
yeah,
I know, we would have the initial conversations with
hmm,
the students, right? We would
yeah,
talk about, first of all, location.
yeah, right,
Virtual wasn't really a thing until
yeah, totally,
2020.
yeah,
And then,
yeah, that's right,
we would talk about interests. And that's where it got a little bit more specific because we tried to, connect you guys with students that were, within your wheelhouse, right?
yeah,
With what you like to do. Uh,
totally,
Sometimes that would create another like fork in the road,
yeah,
but I do remember sending like, but then there's also the, you take on an interview with a student. Does it work out? Does it not work out? One reason or another. That sounds about right though. Is when you were teaching these students, like, obviously there was the curriculum that the school had.
mhm.
Were there any specific philosophies that you taught your students that helped them go from like just curious about doing this to like able to jump into doing this?
I think I really liked just kind of coming up, again, coming up through the studio and just sort of learning a lot of everything. I came up so Tree Sound was very much a they had hip hop, they had rock, they had every country. I mean, Elton John, Beyonce, Outkast, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to like either whether I was working on these sessions or assisting somebody or just being able to sit in the room because somebody liked me or whatever it was. I learned a lot about a lot, but then to sort of funnel that down to where like I want to make a song from start to finish, having it mixed and mastered to where I can hit play and people are like, wow, that's cool. Um, you know, that was sort of like that was really what I wanted to get the students. Like, I think it's just such a big mountain to climb when you're like, I want to do music.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Like what
Okay.
is
So like,
it's such
what
a
do I
broad
need? Yeah.
term.
Well, what program do you use? And they're like, what do you mean? What program do I use? It's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Before we ever dive into plugins or chord structure or songs, like they don't even know what, a solo button is like. So I think it was just more of like, I just want to show you everything you need to know. All you need to know is about 10% of whatever it is. I mean, I always say 30%, but 30% of Ableton, 30% of Pro Tools. I don't know everything Ableton can do, but I can get a song signed to a label. You know what I mean? So I think it was like just showing them like, guys, like stick with me for a minute. I'm just going to show you everything you need to know from there on. Like rather than like branching out and trying to grab all this information and all that sort of thing. Here's sort of a highway. And if you want to get off on once you get that, if you want to get it off on an off ramp and like learn something else and then get back on the highway, that was sort of my philosophy, was just showing them like, don't pay attention to that right now. Like you don't need to know that right now. You don't need to know that. You don't need to have that piece of gear to be successful. You don't need to have that mentality. You don't need to have that plugin. Like just you need to have this stuff and this is how you do this and this and this. And all of a sudden they'd be, bringing songs into the studio in month 3 or 4. This was a 6-month program, but they would kind of be bringing songs in like from start to finish, and then we could like, all right, cool. Now we can Like your mix is sounding good, everything. Like now let's dive into like that's stock plug-in mixing. Like let's dive into like let's pull in some more information, all that sort of thing. But the idea was just kind of to give them everything they needed to know to be able to make a song from start to finish, make a competitive song from start to finish without kind of the mystery of like, do I need this? Like somebody told me I needed this. Somebody said I did, like, I'm on this program. I should be on this. Guys, like, no, I mean, not at all, so it was really more of like just boot camp,
Yeah.
boot camp mentality.
That is honestly one of the best ways I've heard that put. It's like, I mean, it's so true. You don't have to be perfect at this to be able to make something happen on like a fulfilling, sustainable career level.
Yeah.
That's a really the highway. And if you feel like making some pit stops on the way, go for it. But remember that you're still on the highway.
Just get on the highway, like, let's
Yeah.
get going. I mean, let's like just showing them just exactly what they actually needed to know rather than like, and Full Sail, I went to Full Sail and it was the best time of my life. And I love Full Sail, still involved with them, but it was kind of like a year of sort of a lot of stuff that I didn't have interest in. I mean, I think we had what was it? Like an audiotronics, I think was the class. And it was kind of like soldering and all that sort of thing. And it was kind of like,
So,
okay, like,
yeah.
I mean, which is fun. A lot of people love it. I was never that guy. This was still when I was like, I'm not a technical dude. So like taking gear apart, I was just like, I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
So I think it's really more like, yes, there's so much to learn. There's so much out there. And what Full Sail was trying to do was show you all these different careers that you could get into to make money, all that sort of thing. But if somebody wants to learn how to mix a record, all right, cool. Like we're just going to dive into it and
yeah.
learn.
And how long was your program at Full Sail? Because at Recording Connection, we only got 6 months. Like that's all we could do with our students.
Yeah.
Whatever
Full
you could do in 6 months.
Full Sail was 2 years compressed into 1 year.
Oh.
And dude, it was a blast. I mean, it was so much fun. Like we had kind of classes in the morning and then we would have labs at like throughout it was 24-hour schedule. So like
I would hear about students doing labs at like 10 p.m.
It was awesome.
Like in studios. And I'm like, dude, your school has you in a studio at 10 p.m.
Yeah, dude.
And they're like,
it was cool.
Yeah.
So, and they're like 4 hours. So it'd be like 10 to 2, whatever. And then you'd get up and have a 9 a.m. So they were trying to like acclimate you to the schedule too,
They're trying to condition you to how it actually.
Yeah,
and they're trying to give you the bags under your eyes before you earn the real bags.
Yeah, get you on the cigarette habit before. No, I mean it was.
They're trying to get you the Walmart bags under your eyes before you get the Birkin bags under your eyes.
Yeah. No, it was a blast, dude. It was so much fun, but it was also like I think I got a 30% out of it of what I actually wanted to learn. And now they have all these different programs. This was 2003, 4.
Yeah.
When they had one sort of audio program. Now they've got sort of
a ton of them now, I think, right? They've diversified their portfolio, so to speak.
Yeah. But that was my philosophy. Yeah. Just what do you want to learn? And let's dive in. I mean, we don't have to, you don't need to know how a microphone works to record people. Right. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's actually, I think that's a good way of looking at it because it's like you get less of that kind of learner's ADHD, I guess, where it's like, you want to, like I specifically my dubstep students, they want so badly right now to learn how to make tear out guns or Space Lace's crunch sounds or, whatever. But it's like, are you also working the creative muscles required to structure a song properly, to mix it, to master it? I like to equate it to like gym work, right? The saying, don't skip leg day.
Yes, that's right.
You wouldn't skip leg day. So it's like, why would you skip mix down day? Or,
totally.
It's so you got to be well-rounded with it. You almost got to Swiss Army knife it, but it's also, you still got to understand what tools you want on your Swiss Army knife.
That's it.
10 different ones you could make. So
that's it. That's it. Totally.
So success stories, I kind of want to break this down into 2 parts because I've known that you've had some really good credits and accolades, and obviously see you've got them on display behind you. Tell us about those really quick, if you could.
Cool.
What's on the wall back there, man?
Cool. So, yeah, those are, those are 2 wins or 2 certifications and 2 wins and 2 nominations. One is Beyonce. That was with Black Elvis and Harold Lilly. I was their engineer for some years. Um, I love them to death. They're brothers, and they the Beyonce one was we would just, the 3 of us would just get in the studio and they would just write, the 2 of them, producer and songwriter, would just get in the studio and for a week at a time. Harold lived in LA, Elvis and I were in Atlanta. And we would get in the studio for a week at a time, sometimes a month at a time. Elvis and I would go to LA for a month or 2 at a time, and they would just write songs. They were just cataloging. Um, Ego for Beyonce was initially written for Jamie Foxx, and I actually have that demo still. It's dope. Like, obviously Jamie Foxx killed it as well, but Jamie Foxx was going through songs for his album, kind of picking, and Beyonce was in the studio with Jamie Foxx, just 2 people hanging out, right? Beyonce and Jamie Foxx.
But yeah, as they do.
Yeah, I mean, all good. And uh, Jamie was like, I don't think I'm going to take this one. And Beyonce was like, I want it. So, kind of goes to show, like, also don't get discouraged if one artist doesn't take something, because you never know who it might fit. And
Yeah.
so
That's got to have been
Beyonce
a
took
wild
that one.
interaction to have witnessed.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy. Yeah. Super cool. And it would happen all the time. I mean, so many songs are written intentionally for somebody and they just don't make it. But now they're in the system and, they get sent out, all that sort of thing.
yeah.
And that was on the I Am Sasha Fierce album, which won, I don't remember how many Grammys that album won, maybe just one. But, I recorded a song on that, so I got the certificate.
That's sick. That's so
Yeah,
sick.
super the other win is Usher. That was for the song Little Freak with Nicki Minaj. So
No
same
shit.
sort of thing. Yeah, same sort of thing. Recorded that, and then that got a Grammy win.
That's what's up, dude.
And
I mean,
think,
congrats.
yeah. Oh no, that's crazy. I mean, talking about him is still like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Super cool. The other one I think is a Beyonce nomination. I do want to get like all the nomination ones as well, but just to stack the wall, of course, you want to show off.
Of course.
But
of course.
so the other one is a Beyonce nomination, and then the other one is a song. Matt B is I don't want to call him Afrobeat artist, because he's so much more than that. That was one of the first songs Matt B and I'd mixed a song for him, and it did really, really well. Matt has since won a Grammy.
Nice.
Like an actual Grammy. That was a nomination for that song. So, that was kind of my first, like, Matt B. Yeah.
I have to look this up. That's bugging me.
Yeah,
definitely. I know I've heard this name before.
He's killing it. He just got a GQ cover and all kinds of crazy stuff. But that
Not
one's
too
cool
shabby.
because that was my first Grammy nod for mixing.
Okay.
So that was kind of like another milestone in the career of like not just recording stuff, but mixing stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand how this kind of ties back into your point with staying on the highway. It's like how in depth you can go with certain types of recording or mixing songs or even the final masters. Like, dude, you can go so far down the rabbit hole in any direction. Like it's so I bet you the different nods Grammy wise on different categories that's really cool, man. So you've got a super well-rounded I guess
that is cool.
validation of that.
That's
sick.
Thank you. That's cool. I never thought about it like that. You just kind of get to work and cool things come across the desk sometimes,
Skrillex said something a few years ago when Rumble with
I love Skrillex,
with Fred again and Floatin' and Was there another artist on the track? No, it was just them three, I think. Rumble, right? When it got a Grammy, he was
God,
at the.
don't kill me. I don't know if I'm sure I've heard that. Don't kill me. I
Listen,
can't
you
think of
hear
it, but
that? Killers in the Jungle. Killers in the Jungle. That one. I don't know. I'll have to send it to you
jeez. Oh
afterwards. It's
God. Yeah, no,
such a
I'm
good
sorry.
song.
Yep. I'm gonna listen to that one.
It's so good. It's so
Yikes.
good.
I
Honestly,
missed it.
so you could okay, so that one is good. Pepper and Batters are all really
Batters.
good. They all have
Yeah.
float in on them.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
but when Rumble won the Grammy, he was at the ceremony and they're doing the interviews and all that
Yeah.
beforehand. And he said something that was just I'm getting chills just thinking about
Yeah.
this. Because you're talking about Skrillex, who has like all of the Grammys, right?
Yeah. The king.
He's got like 75 Grammys now. But
Yeah.
he's very well recognized in that category. But like, he says, success is not something you chase; it's something that you attract, and that feeds, I think, directly into what you said about you just got to get to work and you just got to write, and you almost assume that
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen. You just focus on your
Oh,
craft
yeah.
and just continue making things.
Yeah.
Like very few times. Now I don't have any like Grammys or platinums or anything like that, but it's like I would make a song,
Yet.
make a song. Yet. But thank you. It's I do that to my students all the time. Like
Yet.
blah blah blah. Yet. The word yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, like I'd make a song and you almost assume nothing happens to it. You get to work on the next one.
Yeah.
And then when you're sending your weekly, demo emails out or whatever, a week or 2 or 7
Yeah, I know.
later,
Yeah.
you're going to, you're going to get that email back and you never know when you're going to get that email.
Yeah. No,
So,
totally. Yeah, man. I mean, I think you getting started, like you have your goals and you want glory and but it's also, I mean, that's all great. But to round back, like you gotta love it. It has to just be something that you would do for free. Has to be something that without anything on the wall, like would I still be doing this? Yeah. I mean, 100%. So
yeah. Well, it's because you love doing it too, which is another
that's
important
it.
thing. If you don't love doing this in music, in, performance of any sort, any entertainment, if you don't love it, people are going to
Man,
tell.
yeah. Well, they can tell it. It comes through the speakers.
Yep.
I mean, like I've had down days where like I try to make a track and it's just
And it just doesn't come together.
this track. Yeah, it's just it's like you take it in the car and you're like, I mean,
That's even something I've experienced with this podcast. Because like I've never done a podcast before. This is the first time I've tried to do this. I've always wanted to. Been real big into them since COVID.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
But dude, some days I'm like, yo, that was a banger of a reel edit. Or like, yeah, this highlight's going to be great. And then like yesterday, I was just sitting there spinning my wheels. I'm like, I was editing shorts for our guest Solidith, who's another one of our mentors, who he spit some really cool game on like the whole like independent artist starting yourself out as a business front.
Okay.
There's some really good material in there.
Cool.
Some really good software talk. There's
Awesome.
there's a lot of gold nuggets in there, but even yesterday I was just in this up here where it just didn't make sense.
I hate when I mean, dude, it happens. I get in my head and I can't stand it. I know it. I can recognize it happening now. So I'm trying to do like these things where I break it before it happens and before I just close the computer and,
do you have any exercises or routines that you do for that? Is there anything that you can like turn to that you would like to share with anyone watching this? Is there anything you can think of to jar yourself back into creating?
Sometimes just going, I mean, if I can take a trip somewhere, and I'm not talking like go to Japan, I'm just talking just get out of the same scenery that I've been in for the past, 7 weeks or whatever. Sometimes if you can do that, take a bike ride, take a walk. I think walking a lot of times is a big sort of scientifically proven exercise to sort of clear your head. A lot of times, like I'll try to find a documentary or I'll even do like, I'll go down YouTube tutorial land and sometimes that jars it. Like, that's like, oh, that's a cool thing. Like it's a cool idea. And then I'll go and open Ableton and do it. And then all of a sudden I'm kind of back in the thing. But man, like, I think the important thing is like, unless it's just a chronic problem and you need to figure something out to, that might be a more existential thing. But Also, just give yourself a little grace. Like creativity is such a, I don't want to use the word spiritual, but organic spiritual thing. Like if you're not feeling it someday, then just like take a breath, like shut the computer, like go do something else that you enjoy doing. And then just don't wallow in it. You know what I mean? Just give yourself some time and go do something else that makes you happy, whether it's taking your girl out for dinner or whatever, and come open the computer back up and try again, man. I mean, it for me at least, I've never been the guy who can just like crank out 5 songs every day, like just that constant creativity.
I know a few of those, and they're
I know, same.
scary, and
I
I'm
mean,
jealous
and
of them.
it's so intimidating, man. It's so like, oh my God, like I am losing right now. But
But at
uh
the same time, you look at some of those people too, like double-edged sword. I know a few of those people who can make a song in like 45 minutes,
yeah.
and very seldom I've noticed are they like super happy with the songs.
No,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
and then they get the one every so often where they're like, "Oh, there you go.
That way,
I'm
yeah,
happy with
yeah,
this."
yeah. Yeah.
But I almost
Big
wonder
time.
what, you know, you take somebody who writes really fast and somebody who takes a little bit longer, but is a little bit more
Very intentional
sparse
with
with it.
that
Yeah,
one
very
song, yeah.
intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder how the output lines up, because it's
Yeah.
like somebody
Yep.
makes 10 songs, but they only like two, but somebody writes 4 songs and they only like two.
Yeah. That's so well put.
So,
I think that's pretty realistic
yeah.
and accurate.
But, well, also, it's like, I think too, what you're describing, you called it almost like a spiritual type thing. I think it's also a big thing on chemical balance, because it's like, you know, if I'm in a negative mindset, if I'm like
Mhm.
not vibing, I'm not writing. It's not going to work. I'll be too up in my head. But if I start getting up in my head about not being able to come up with an idea that I like, then I'll get even more negative, and then
Dude,
it becomes a
it's
worse
bad.
chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
But if I wake up in the morning and I have, a good breakfast, not to sound corny, and then I go for a walk, like you said, I throw the AirPods in, or I go out
Yeah.
and sit in the sun somewhere, listen to
Yeah.
some music on the AirPods. Like, you do this nice cleansing where you feed yourself good brain chemicals, and you
Totally.
say, it's also
Totally.
might sound weird, you say some nice things to yourself in the mirror, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crazy how well that
Yeah.
can do for your
Yeah,
mental
man.
health. But it's like, then you go and you sit down at the computer and you're like, okay, it's time to make some music. Or you sit down wherever you're making your music, and you'll probably have a much better time. And I think that's because it's like there's a special chemical balance that you have to get to.
I agree.
Like,
Oh,
so
man, I 100% agree with that. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's so hard to get that perfect
Yeah.
chemical balance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and it can be frustrating, man, when it's not there, and like you want to, then you're getting hard on yourself for not being productive, and then you go down that sort of like I'm a failure rabbit hole, and that's never
well, that's
good. So
never
it's
good,
if you just start like if
dude.
you can try to start recognizing it and catching it, and just take a walk, like listen to a podcast, listen to something that usually snaps me out of it,
Yeah,
to shut my voice off and get another voice like
yeah,
coming in.
exactly. So that's super well put. I mean,
Yeah.
another one. This is one that I teach my students to do. It's a super bland name, but I call it the 1 hour challenge, or it was explained to me as the 1 hour challenge, where it's meant to sort of get you more reps in on starting a blank project file. And it also gets you more reps in with like using your computer shortcuts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just getting more familiar with the software, but also, this may be just my opinion, but it's like starting with a blank project file is the worst place, right? Like, because
Yeah.
it's like it's like you buy a piece of land, and okay, I know there needs to be a house here by the time we're done. Now what? Like,
Yeah.
you get that kind of effect. But if you set
Yeah.
a timer on your phone and you put your phone out of your sight, so you don't want to be
Yeah,
looking at it,
correct. Yeah, man.
and
Put that
you
phone out.
create for 1 hour, and no matter what, at the end of that hour, you hit save, and
Yeah.
then you start the timer back over, maybe do it again,
I like that. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, I like that.
because then you wind up with all these different project files that you can flick through and go between when you get sick of one of them. I have a friend who has folders. So his Ableton Projects folder has folders in it. It's Monday through Friday. And he's done he's done that enough to where he's got a repertoire of project files in the Monday folder all the way through Friday.
Awesome.
And on the corresponding days, he is only allowed to work on project files in those
That's
folders.
cool. I like that.
And
Yeah, that's cool.
we were living together in LA, and there was a day he pumped out, he finished 3 tracks in a day.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
granted,
yeah.
those songs were probably like 80% of the way, and the way he was flicking through the project files, he just got boom, 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 done. And they were like good songs. They were like,
yeah. Well, that's
you
like
know,
much more like sort of intentional and scientific and like, um, that's pretty cool. I like
yeah.
that.
Do I
I like
started
that.
having my students do that? And I had one student who finished 26 songs in 6 months, all EDM.
Insane.
And I had another student who did a 12-song album. Another student who did 21 songs. They're more
Yeah.
like all like rap
Crazy.
kind of beats.
Yeah.
And then I also had another student. So he was doing like minute-long, like symphonic, like orchestral kind of pieces
Okay.
because he wanted to get
Cool.
into film scoring.
Cool. Okay.
So each one of these are about a minute and a half max, right? But he did 53 pieces of work in 6 months. Granted, he was also producing 30 hours a week without fail.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Dude,
but it
great.
started with that 1 hour challenge because
Yeah.
you get just a whole thing. You start filling your hard drives with all these project files.
Yeah. I love that. I like the structure of that too. I think structure, I mean, I'll kind of like, look, Mac, if I'm not feeling it, I'll say like, dude, just go down and do something.
Yeah.
Just do something for, it's better than like getting through the day and laying down in bed at night and like, shit, I didn't do anything all day,
Yeah.
just go do something, whether it's, learning one of your pieces of gear or learning, just watching a tutorial and doing something. I mean, just go build a kit and then make, a couple 8-bar, like just do I think just do something,
Yeah.
it's sort of
If
one
you
of those,
do-
like what they tell depressed people, like, you just got to get up and do something. Like, don't
Yeah.
lay in bed. I know it's hard, but like, get up and do something. Go for a walk or call somebody, so I think that's sort of like kind of the dark explanation of how to get out of that creative funk that you can be in. But
That's a good one though.
just
I mean,
do
because
something.
if you do 2%,
Yeah,
then it only takes 50 days to get to 100%.
there you go. Yeah,
It's like not even 2 months.
there you go. Yeah, and odds are you're going to open up that session that you did 2 days later, and it's going to be like, oh, this is kind of fire.
Yeah.
Like I can work with this.
If you're not constantly beating a project file to death,
Yeah,
right? Like if you're
Yeah.
not constantly listening to it and playing it 100, 200, 300 times
yeah,
and you're getting sick of it, right?
yeah.
Then
that's
that'll
right.
happen. Like you said, like, you'll take a break from it and you go back and listen to it later after you've maybe tried this, or cleansed your palate somehow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right.
Then
Yeah.
you go back and you check it out and you'll probably have a better outlook on it.
This is not as bad as I thought it was. Yeah.
But well, cool, man. So this is one of the more interesting parts of the podcast so far. This has been the most frequently edited because of the nature of it. And it's titled on this brief that I sent you before we started.
Yeah.
It's titled Wild Times. And the reason it is because I've been trying to find out everybody's craziest industry story that you're allowed to tell. This could be like some kind of unforgettable or hilarious experience, from your time in the music industry.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that comes to mind that you'd like to share on that?
Jeez, man. It's nothing. I don't think I have like this kind of like, I spent a night in jail because I went partying with Motley Crue sort of story. But I guess they're one of the more fun ones early in my career. I was assisting for a band. I guess I can say it's Seven Dust, and it was pretty awesome. Like just hanging around a bunch of cool rock guys, and they were all very cool guys. And one night we'd done drums or maybe bass that day, and I was helping the other assistant engineer edit. some of the stuff for the engineer. We just had like another editing room, and they get back, they leave the studio, and they come back with some strippers, and that was pretty cool. So we had some strippers in the studio, you know, just kind of hanging out, and you know, putting their derrieres on the studio wall windows, and it was awesome. I was like, all right, I'm glad I chose this career.
Yeah.
Um, you know, things like that. She's like crazy stories. Um, I'm trying to think of just stuff off the top of my head.
That's a pretty crazy one though. Seven Dust.
Awesome.
Pretty.
Yeah,
It's a pretty good
they
one.
were cool. I mean, you know, all down to things like just showing up for a session, and then you know, to what looked like an arms deal was going to go down. I mean, I remember walking in the studio, and they had like rocket launchers and AK-47s, and I thought I was coming in to record some vocals for this guy, but um,
Wow.
just
Did you
weird.
actually wind up recording vocals for them? Like,
We ended up recording piano that day.
yeah. So I got to the studio, and there was rocket launchers and
Oh, okay.
AKs, and
Yeah.
it looked crazy.
Yeah,
But he tickled them
I
ivories.
won't say his name, but he's awesome. He's a super dope guy. Um, big rapper, but like that
Recorded
was a
piano.
fun. It was just like a really funny juxtaposition of like what was happening in the control room to like, all right, Mac, here's what we're gonna do today. And he had this like amazing piano player come in and play piano over a track that was eventually just sort of like this hard rap beat, you know, with this dope piano over there. That was
That's
what we did.
crazy.
I didn't ask any questions. I don't know what happened with the guns. I have no idea. But
Well, no, because
yeah,
you're just the guy.
stuff
You're
like
just
that.
the dude who's in.
Yeah, man.
You're
Head
clocking in.
down.
You're here to work.
Head down. I'm doing the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I knew was I did not want to distort the recording because there were a
No.
lot of guns in there.
Oh well. Added pressure. We call that.
Yeah.
We call that just a little
Added
bit of
pressure.
just sprinkled on there. Just,
Yeah, man.
that's nuts.
Geez, I don't know. You know, just fun stuff. I mean, when we found out we won the Grammy, we were in LA, and we were in a van, and like we opened the door to the van, and we're like cruising down Sunset with the van doors wide open, like just celebrating and
Oh, of
screaming.
course.
And
How does
you
that?
know, I mean, fun stuff.
Dude, so I remember, like, I mean, a couple of instances throughout my career where I like get a call from a manager or from my agent, or I get an email that's just some really good news. It's
Yeah.
not like that, but like I
Yeah.
remember I would get this like crazy feeling, almost like this adrenaline, and I'd be like, "Whoa!" You know, you feel the
Yeah.
blood flowing, and you're like, "Yeah, let's go." Take me to the moment where you first found out that you had won. Like, what was it? Was that? How did that feel?
It well, so the first Grammy, I remember I was in Venezuela working with a band when the first Grammys were won, and we barely had service where we were. And I think I found out maybe 2 or 3 days later. I started seeing like congratulations on Facebook.
Oh, so you saw that? Did you even know what they were for? Or were there, but then
I figured, I knew that I was kind of keeping an eye out for the, you know,
Yeah.
an ear out and an eye out for what was happening. We were just in the middle of like the Venezuelan, we were in this like cool thing. So I remember like kind of being able to like check, like we'd get Wi-Fi every now and then. So I would check, and a couple days later I got some Wi-Fi and checked, and everybody's like, congratulations. Oh my God, congratulations. So that was awesome.
That's sick. Yeah.
And then the second one, you know, I've never been to the Grammys. I was always working. I was always in the studio or working somewhere when we would find out. But it was cool because it was with both of the ones that we won was with the same team, you know, so it was, and I was always with them except for Venezuela. I would be with them when we would find out we were nominated or that we won. So
Yeah. That's sick though. That's
cool.
That's
Cool
so cool.
stuff.
That's like, you know, as I feel like a musician, whether you're a recording artist or an engineer or producer, I mean,
Mhm.
that is the most prestigious. I mean, obviously there's platinums and golds, Grammys. Those are the three that
Yeah.
everybody thinks of as like the pinnacle, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah, really.
you've done the
Yeah.
thing at that point.
Yeah, it
So
is. I mean, it really is.
that's sick.
And it's cool.
I appreciate not only you coming on this podcast, but also being a member of our early on team at Ascendry. Stoked to see where this goes, not just this episode, but
Absolutely.
as we develop into like 2026 and everything. It's I feel like it's going to be a really fun ride, and thanks for being a part of it.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd want to share with anybody watching this before we wrap up?
Well, you guys just check out Ascendry. Like the best part, one of the best parts of my career is, and I know for you too, Lance, is like teaching people. Um, so really it's so cool that you're doing this app. And I think it's just the perfect, I think it's the perfect way for people to kind of just get one-off knowledge and really focused knowledge, rather than sign up for a big school, or if they don't have the budget to do that or the money to do that. This is the perfect alternative, man. You get professional people who know what they're doing, and you can just, you can kind of get that focused lesson and then pop off and go do your thing. And, if you need to learn more, pop back on the next week and go do your thing. So I think it's really ideal. I think this is kind of like, one of the best things out there that I've seen as far as music, creation, education.
Dude, thank you so much for that,
Yeah.
because it's one of those things where, as we build this, it's like, it's obviously got its ups, its downs. We've already
Oh my
built
gosh. Totally.
this crazy, I think our Discord's got like 170 something people in it. We've got
Yeah.
145
Discord
students.
goes off at
Yeah,
night. It's great, man.
the Discord's great. Like, I've been
Yeah.
popping in the production rooms and doing stuff. I've been, kind of engaging with some of the people that are on there. And this is almost becoming like, and I didn't know this was going to do this, but it's like, it can be a supplemental learning thing, whether, you just need one-off help with something, or if you're looking for something a little more structured, you can do that. But also, if you are in one of those bigger music production schools, it's like you still could pop over here, search for specific help on a certain thing that you might be lacking in, and learn a little more here too. Alex actually pointed this out to us, that, this works whether you're just looking for a little bit of help, or you're just getting
Yeah.
into it,
Yeah.
just getting your feet wet, or you need a full, well-rounded approach,
Yeah.
or if you're already in a big program and
Yeah.
you need like some extra on the side tutoring. And I
Totally.
never thought about the
Yeah.
fact
Yeah.
that would,
That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That is cool.
but
Thanks,
well,
Lance. Yeah. This is awesome, man.
it's been great, man. Thank you so much for your time. And anybody watching this, book with Mack Woodward on ascendry.app. He's got the free consult option on. You can literally book a 30-minute discovery call for free.
Yeah. Let's just talk about your goals, man. What do you want to
Yeah,
learn? What are
exactly.
we doing?
So cool, man.
Awesome.
All right. Take care, man.
Lance, thanks, man. Appreciate
Yep.
it. Bye-bye.